All right, we're live. Today, we're back getting a bank update. Chandler's got his glasses on, which means that the IQ points go up even more. Craig, should I add some?
No, I think when you say a banker's points go up, you have to use like bips or something just to make sure that it's
by the physical look. He's gone up 50 basis points by just putting on glasses.
He's got his credit evaluator look on right now. He's not the friendly banker that we've come
If
to
I
love.
ever start saying bips, just will you punch me in the Jimmy? Just be like, dude, you're a nerd. Stop talking like a nerd. Just say I have a point.
0.5%, 50 basis points, 50 bips. Sounds good.
Makes you sound smart.
Like your glasses, Chandler. Well, welcome back to the pod, Chandler. It's good to have you. Since we last talked, we actually got a chance to go to your compound, shall we call it? Campus?
Yes,
what do we call it?
Compound is right.
I would say compound. That's
it was so freaking impressive. Like you made me like want to look at things that I could go borrow money for so I could do business with you. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Chandler from Live Oak Bank. And they love us dentists, and we love you too, because that was an incredible trip up. It was a one-day trip, and got a chance to see like your ethos and what you do, and met Chip and all these great guys. And I mean, it's incredible what you guys are doing. And I'm a product of the SBA. I know you guys have a product that focuses on the SBA, and had it not been for the Small Business Association, I would not be where I am today. So I can't throw too much shade on government assistance programs. I am, in fact, a product of one.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And we enjoyed having you up here. It was a really good day. And what I like to tell people, especially that are influential within the dental realm, I would love to get you to Wilmington, North Carolina, not Wilmington, Delaware.
Private joke. Yeah. Private joke.
Tell this. That's a pretty funny story. Yeah. Craig gets on a plane. He's like, "Where are we going? Wilmington?
No, I didn't say that. I'm like, so Chandler, how long have you lived in Delaware? He's like, don't live in Delaware. Why did you think so? I'm like, well, we're going there. No, we're going to Wilmington, North Carolina, not Wilmington, Delaware. I'm like, yeah, same difference. Whatever. It's like what? Like 300 miles apart.
Quickly change the subject.
And then it's somehow wove into Joe Biden being from Delaware.
No,
that was at that time, that was when we thought Joe Biden had some cognitive decline, but no one else did. And
I think, actually how it happened is we were like, all right, we're getting ready to land. And Craig's like, man, that was a fast flight to Delaware.
I didn't say that. Don't make it worse than it already is. Let's get to some content. This is too important for people to listen to. Not
Chandler,
to listen to.
Let's talk about the from a market update perspective. We were just talking about this with our mastermind today about interest rates, and where obviously you don't have a crystal ball, you don't know what the Fed's going to do, but when they start lowering interest rates, which they will, or everyone's anticipating they will, what do you see in the next, let's call it 12 months? And again, no crystal ball. We're not going to hold you to this, but like, what are you hearing?
This is not financial advice, right?
Yes. Disclosure.
Disclosure. So, they just got done with the Federal Reserve meeting last week out in Jackson Hole, and Jerome Powell did come out and say we have reached a point in which we have clarity on where we need to go with rates. And I think those are going down. You see that with inflation continuing to come down month over month. We are now at a 2 handle and the high 2s year over year. And then you see a little bit of softening within the labor market. Not as many new jobs out there. Now, is that related to people getting laid off, or is there just more supply within the market? Regardless, the Fed is paying attention to that, and that is their dual mandate.
And that was their goal too, right? Meaning like we gotta cool this economy off, and now they're like, yeah, but we don't want to overcool it. So that's when we reintroduce stimulation in the market by lowering interest rates, right?
That's exactly right. So the dual mandate with interest rates and employment is at a point now where I think they have the ability to ease rates, right? And actually, when you think about real rates, when you're looking at inflation adjusted for the real rates, it's very tightening right now. And so, I think the betting markets, and which is kind of crazy right now, that you can go out there and actually bet with some of these apps that there's going to be a reduction of probably 25 basis points. I think they're calling for 100% in September.
Yeah, it's
So
25 or 50 is what's on the table, right?
So
For
a
most
quarter to
20
a half a point for us mere mortals.
a quarter to
And
a
then
half a point, not basis points.
so flesh that out for a listener that may not understand the ramifications of that. What is that going to mean?
Yeah, and
for
then
people?
why does that
Yeah.
matter for the dentist listening?
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
absolutely. So I'll just kind of take an example here at Live Oak Bank and how we're lending it, what our rates are today, right? So we base our rates off Wall Street Journal Prime, okay? And that is tied to the federal funds rate. The Wall Street Journal Prime rate today is 8.5%. So here at Live Oak Bank, we are putting a spread either above 8.5%, or we're actually going negative for certain cases. And a lot of dentists, we actually can go below prime today. So, hey, September comes around, Jerome Powell comes out and says, hey, we are lowering the federal funds rate 25 basis points or 0.25%, or 50 basis points or 0.5%. That is going to reflect in the interest rate that we are offering our clients right now going forward. So what does that mean? Less interest, more affordable payments to go out there and pursue a project, whether that is through an acquisition or where we specialize here at Live Oak Bank is in SBA financing, large commercial real estate purchases and ground up construction.
Got it. So one of the things that's interesting, and I want to just ask you about this, the data that the Fed was using, and I want you to just unpack this for our listeners, was found out to be wrong, correct? Like they had over calculated how many jobs were created. Like the Department of Labor didn't get this right. Is that correct? Can you just help us understand what happened there?
Yeah, I think there was a revision that came out a couple of weeks ago that over the last 12 months, they revised new jobs down by, I think it was something around 818,000.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So that means that it had been reported that our economy was stronger in new job creation or less jobs lost, I should say, than reality. So,
right.
Yeah, that's
it's funny, Chandler. I don't know if you guys had this at the bank, but in dentistry, we had an issue around COVID when interest rates were zero, right? And we had this inflationary market and this kind of runaway that the job market became very, very difficult, especially for certain positions in dentistry, hygienists, especially assistants. Everyone came back and was like, hey, the office down the street will pay me X amount, right? So the pendulum, I always remind people, like the pendulum swings far, and we think that's going to be the way it is. And I kept reminding people it's going to swing back and potentially into our favor. And I feel like now so that was an employees market rather.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's swinging back, meaning I have a lot of quality people. Craig, do you? I have a lot of quality people that are applying, not just dentists, but hygiene. I mean, we have a great hygiene team. We have a great assistant team. We have just, Chandler, I always use this term.
We can feel it. We feel the difference in the labor market.
Applying for the practice versus like, you'll work. It just needs a warm body kind of thing. And so I don't know, is that happening across the board in other disciplines, even at your bank? I mean, are you seeing that it's more of a employers market now because of this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one thing that I always keep in mind that can kind of translate against any type of market or anything is everything reverts back to the mean.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think that's kind of where we're going. It's kind of back to the mean, and maybe even swinging a little bit further more to the employer side right now, because if there's a softening labor market, if there is things that are starting to go awry within the economy, the employer might have a little bit more leverage, and to some degree. So
talk to me about something like this that I'm really interested in this facet. And maybe this is a level 2 question, but as interest rates go down, right? Mm-hmm. The dentist is thinking, awesome, maybe it's time for me to build that building or buy that practice or expand this footprint. Okay. So as interest rates go down, though, valuations and cost of construction and things go up because the cost of capital now is cheaper. So, like when our houses, like it was funny, Craig was telling me about like Florida house pricing and what he's going to do. Right. And so you're like, wow, look at all this equity I have in my home. And it's like, oh, you should sell your house. It's an all-time high. But then you have to go and replace it with another home that's in an all-time high kind of thing. Yeah. Right. So is there a dislocation? So my question is this. the level 2 question is this. Is there a period where interest rates go down and the market hasn't had time to react to that? So there's a dislocation in price and interest rates falling, where you have a Goldilocks period of opportunity is where I'm going.
Yeah,
I'll answer. I'll say
Yeah, you
yes
go,
to
Craig.
that, and I'll let the Chandler go. But I would say absolutely. We saw that on the other side.
I agree.
When you and I in September 2021 and we're on the podcast saying, hey, refinance now, do it now, get your low rate. Things are about to spin out of control. And you know that, so I think they work in both fashions. But Chandler, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No,
Opine, please.
I think I think you're correct, Craig. I mean, the dental industry, what I can say, I mean, we spoke about it when I was first on this podcast in 21 and then 22 and 23, and now it's just like, it's always been a good time to borrow money.
Right.
And we were talking about that when rates were at 7 or 8%, and now they're about to come back down, and look what it's still a good time, right? Because
imagine, Chandler, I want to pause. Let's just say for somebody who says, well, I'm glad I didn't borrow at 7%. Like we said, it was a good time. Had you borrowed at that point, your asset would have appreciated, because we know what's happened to assets for the last 36, 48 months, and you'd be able to refinance. You make money when you buy. And I'm hoping that what is it? The fourth time's a charm, that someone actually hears Chandler this time. Like, okay, darn it, they're right. Now I'm going to do it. That's
right. That's exactly right. And so now we're on the other side, where now we're talking about rates coming down. Yeah. And so people are thinking, well, there's going to be people out there who say, well, I can time the market. And there's one cool phrase that I've heard. It's not, you can't time the market. It's the time in the market.
Yeah.
It really benefits. So we try to extrapolate this over the 25 to 30 year period of an investment. And I love what you said, Craig. I think it was like 2 podcasts ago. It's marry the project, date the rate. Marry the project, date the rate. And I've taken that and I've used that in some of my presentations. And I might give you a little bit of credit, but I think it's so true. Right? Where we are today, there might be this Goldilocks period, and people are going to jump in and say, hey, okay, there's going to be more demand because they see that rates are going to be coming down. Does that drive up prices? Does that drive up construction? Does that drive up real estate values?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
You don't know, but
we don't know.
Here's, what I love, you bankers, Chandler, and banks and money, banks that are full of money, is that you guys will go. So, for instance, I just took a big loan from building a ground up construction, and the rate is let's just call it 6%, right? It's a little bit less than that. But if the rate goes down, so I'm contractually obligated to pay 5.8%. If the rate goes down, though, I can kind of hypothetically break that contract and say, I'd like to refinance a little lower now, right? So I'm capped at my upside, meaning the bank, I can never go higher than 5.8. But if the economy goes back to a 3%, I am allowed to refinance. But you guys are not allowed to change that arrangement, right? Meaning I can keep that 5.8. If interest rates go to 50%, I'm still at 5.8. So it's like an unfair, it's like, we the people, we the dentists have an unfair, we have a little bit of an opportunity arbitrage, right? We can take advantage of lower rates, and we are capped at if it goes higher. I always just thought that was the most interesting relationship, right?
Can I add another thing to the things that make you go in the banking world? So yeah, here you have that one facet that you have an opportunity to maximize your rate and not be hurt if it goes up. That's number one. Number two is that your 5.8% rate, which by the way is absolutely freaking crazy. I don't know how you got that, but
collateral.
A lot of
collaterals, right?
But
Chandler,
you're in a 37% tax bracket, so you're only paying 63% of that rate. So your real effective rate after taxes is 3.65, which is like
you're saying net
after your tax savings of that.
I'd have to check that math. Chandler, would you agree with this?
I would have to check the math too, but I mean, it sounds like Craig's actually gone through this.
Because you're saying basically a third of your taxes.
5.8% of your interest is going to come off of your adjusted gross income, and your tax bracket's 37%. You do 0.63 times 5.8. That's 3.65.
So my real cost of capital, you're saying.
Okay, that's number one. So if your building is appreciating at 4 or 5% per year, there's arbitrage there. There's ways to make money on that. The next thing that makes me go, and probably the biggest thing, and this is stolen from Robert Kiyosaki because he's famous for saying it. And I just said it. We just said it on a mastermind call. When a bank gives you money, you don't pay tax, which is crazy. If any of us exchanged money there is an implied tax that we must pay on that money.
You mean that a loan is not income, is what you're saying?
A loan is not income.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me that you can get a loan, it's tax efficient, and these millions of dollars that are given to you have no tax implication for the use of that money. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just like,
I mean,
thinking
but
about
that's
water turning to ice here.
no, but like that's the levers that makes the economy run. If that was taxed, like kind of like unrealized gains, people would be like, whoa,
No,
whoa.
Well, look at what's
not
popular right now. So the dialogue about taxing things that aren't real is actually
We're
becoming
going to go
mainstream.
there. We were going
So
beer
the
and
point,
laughter.
no, we're not going there. The point I'm trying to make is that, when I talked to Peter 2 days ago, he's like, dude, I just got blank number $1 million of dirty fiat money from a bank, and I'm going to put it into hard assets. Peter with this tinfoil hat, like sitting in front of a red light, biohacking, and talking to like some 12-year-old kid in Indonesia, talking about the new meme coin, but thinking it's like a PhD in economics, by the way. That's the best part. So Sanjay, how long have you been a doctor in finance?
There we go.
He's
Here
like,
we go.
Mom. Anyway,
The meatloaf.
the meatloaf. Okay, we got to keep it back to basics.
Okay, give it.
But no, it's just true. He in some ways, I know he was sensational, but he does, and I do agree that we have a devaluing currency. So for those of you who feel really good about holding $1,000 or $1 million in cash, you're holding melting ice. It's becoming less powerful. So all the factors that like a Dave Ramsey will get on the air and tell you why you need to do X, Y, and Z, the opposite is in play for those who are financially savvy.
Yep.
So Dave Ramsey will tell you to avoid debt and blah, 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 and then you got to pay down things. If you're financially savvy, it's the opposite rules are in effect. The same way compound interest on your credit card affects when you bought that boat, compound interest of an asset affects you in a positive way. And I wish they would teach us this stuff in any form of schooling. And I've gone through, like Peter, tons of schooling, and we never got one single day of this type of dialogue. No one teaches us.
Yeah, no,
I
think
I don't know why that was my rant.
I think that was a great point. I mean, why not invest in yourself? Right? I mean, this is your profession, this is your livelihood. So can you invest in yourself, whether you're going out there and buying a practice or expanding your practice? And that's a question that I like to ask the dentists and the clients that I'm working with is like, are you going to take a chance on yourself? Are you betting on yourself? I don't know if I can afford this interest rate. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can take this project on. So you're betting on yourself. You're gonna win.
And a lot of times, Chandler, this is very appropriate for we just had this conversation an hour ago. And I always tell people that, let your heart and your gut kind of lead you into a potential situation. Like, I want this new building, right? But then let your mind run data-driven decisions to back up either your gut. But you got to have both. You can't just kind of keep leading with your heart and be like, I know this is going to be great. If I build it, they will come.
Yeah,
you got to play kind of like I said on our mastermind, is a Monte Carlo simulation. Basically run the what ifs in 100 different directions. If this happens, if my practice plateaus and I don't go anything, can I afford this debt service on this new building if it doesn't grow at all? If it goes down 20%, can I afford the effect to my cash flow, to my family, to my practice, to my business, to my employees? Right. And run all these scenarios. And a lot of people just get so frozen in the like Chandler, you just said, the person who's like, I don't know. I don't know. And the antidote for I don't know is data. Data.
Yeah. Right.
And you can figure out, is it a calculated risk? So in my life, I always look for kind of asymmetric returns. Nothing's a guarantee, but like in that Monte Carlo simulation, if 97% of them are pointing towards, yeah, this is a good idea, and 3% are bad, I'll take a 97% risk on the upside all day long. Right?
Absolutely.
What are you smiling at, Greg?
I'm just thinking about so one of my buddies, Michael's a commercial real estate. He's a big commercial real estate developer. And we had a masterminder from many years ago. And I probably told the story, but it begs some, because you're talking about risk aversion and not investing yourself and all these concepts that most dentists have if they're being open and transparent, they're worried about the investment. And one of our masterminders said something along the lines of like, there's a 10,000 square foot building I'm renting in. I rent 4,000 square feet. I'm going to be jumping up and signing a lease to rent 8,000 square feet. To which I said to him, you might as well just buy the building. Even if the building was sold to you at double the value, you'd be better off owning it. And he said, well, my wife doesn't feel comfortable making that type of investment. I said, you're paying for the building. You're just not going to own it when you're done. To which my buddy Michael is telling him that story, says, Craig, do me a favor, STFU. That's how I make my money. Don't go on your podcast telling doctors this stuff, because the number one tenant for a commercial real estate guy, a guy who owns a strip mall, is a dentist, because we are going to plumb the floor and rip things up and put hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment and assets into your center, tenant improvement, into your asset. And if you want to leave, wonderful, second generation dental space ready to roll. So the reason why you got commercial real estate agents running to attract people like us is the same exact reason why you need to be running to a banker to get funding to do it yourself. And my buddy Michael was not joking when he said that. I was like, I laughed, like, haha. He's like, no, seriously, don't say that, because then I won't be able to make money.
Then I can't make my arbitrage on you dentists.
Right. He's like, I actually have dentists that rent and they listen to your crap. So please don't do that. He's going to have this is a true story. I know.
He listens to your crap, Craig.
Yeah. He's going to listen to this nonsense, and I'm not going to be able to go to Europe for 6 weeks this summer because you're freaking dentists.
That's right.
Any thoughts on that, Chandler? Are we hitting on?
No, I think you're exactly right. I like the point of, hey, like, is your gut right? And then can we actually put the math and the numbers and make it make sense? Right. And those two have to align. If you're one or the other, maybe it's not the right opportunity for you. But once you get both of those, I think it is time to pursue it. And sometimes I have talked to clients and say, hey, like, if you're not in this and you're not ready to go get it and your gut's not telling you right, because I know the numbers will work. Okay. Let me just tell you a stat, right? Here at Live Oak Bank, we've been in the healthcare industry since 2010. We have lent over $3 billion to the dental industry. $3 billion. Take a guess on how much we have charged off or how many loans have gone bad over in $3 billion.
Add up the dollar amount or the percentage?
Dollar amount.
I'm going to guess that you have a 1% default rate. And
don't. So you're saying $30 million?
$7.5 million we have charged off.
So I didn't get to guess.
Default? So
damn it.
99.875% chance of these people doing okay.
Doing okay.
That's the asymmetry I'm talking about.
That's the asymmetry that we're talking about. Right? So these are backed up by stats, right? And it's hard.
Right.
Like,
so
you don't know
the commercial real
know.
estate agents are getting really nervous right now, because that means that they're also not going to default as well. So like, please stop. We're going to get like a lobby lawsuit, like from the Commercial Real Estate Brokers of America.
Wait, what was the number? 7 million?
$7.5 million has been
out
charged
of 3 billion. Out of 3,000 million, you've lost 7 of those.
Yep. Charged it.
Got it.
That's right. And so default rate's a little bit different than what you've charged off, right? A default means you get past 30 days past due, and that changes a little bit.
Well, that's just like how many loans have gone bad.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So since 2010, that has been our stat, and we have helped thousands of clients. The average client within our portfolio on the SBA side grows 25% in year one when building a new building and expanding. On average.
Say that again, please. Sorry. I'm writing it down.
The average client within our portfolio, we've helped thousands of clients over the years.
Yeah.
The average growth rate that they see within year one entering into their new building is 25% growth rate.
Really? The average growth. So going from going from first office to the new build, the new dream, the average growth year over year you're seeing in thousands of practices is 25% average?
That's correct.
Holy shit.
But there's people who do more than that.
So take the numbers here, for example. So a lot of people don't have the financial understanding to engineer this calculation. They hear $15,000 a month payment. Wow, that's a lot of money to spend there, Chandler. My wife not going to want me to do this. What you really need to break down is what's principal repayment, because that's literally money moving from right pocket to left. That's literally
net growth
the money
increase, right?
Yeah. Then put on top your net growth increase. Net worth, net worth increase, of course. But then throw Chandler's net growth formula into there too. So just what is your cost of interest and your carry cost for the loan itself, the tax efficiency,
and then the enterprise value increase by increasing 25%. So the business that was doing $1 million now doing 125, a lot of that was probably, like it's not a small number, right? By the enterprise value increase.
Chandler, I have a business proposition for you. If you talk
here we
to
go.
any dentist that goes through your process and says, I'm just not feeling it, too much risk, can you tell them that I will build it for them? No, seriously. Is that a conflict? You have to run that through legal?
I don't know if that's a conflict of interest.
I'll borrow from you guys. I'm happy to. It'll come right back around.
It's full circle.
But I just honestly
mean,
just say, just whoever doesn't want to build, whoever doesn't want to build the freestanding dental building, just feel free to say, Craig Spodak will build your building for you.
Craig's going to co-sign on this.
I'm on my cell phone. I'm on a conference call right now, guys. At the same, I'm ready. You call me anytime. I'm ready to build this building.
I mean, you joke, right? But like, honestly, can I help? Can I jump in that deal?
No,
we'll borrow from you guys for sure.
I know. And like, it's so if like someone is on the fence or you don't know what you don't know, I just think having this type of conversation about a lender that specializes in this, that has done over $3 billion to the industry, that works in small private practice all the way up to large DSOs. We've run the full gamut. And somebody that, specialized doing $250 to $300 million of ground up construction and large building purchases a year. And that's what we've been focused on since 2010. It hasn't just been acquisitions, right? It's actually been project financing. Those numbers speak for themselves. That's the data that backs it up. Okay. Now take a chance on yourself to go out there, and there's actually financing options, at least through Live Oak Bank, where you can get up to almost 100% financing to go do this.
Why do you feel like people don't take a chance on themselves, Chandler? Like you brought that up twice now, right? What would you say would be the impediment of someone being like, yeah, I bet on me? Why?
I mean, I think number one, just from a lending standpoint, I mean, that's a lot of money. It's probably the most money that some of these people are going to borrow in their entire lifetime. I think that is scary for a lot of people. And some people don't have as long-term vision, right? I mean,
it's the same reason, by the way, guys, why people plunk. Sorry to interrupt.
Go
ahead.
Go.
It's the same reason why people plunk down a large down payment just psychologically, so their monthly payment is lower. Let's just say there's no actual, there's no reason, like for if you have a car lease, for example, to put money down, because it's negligible, and there's gap insurance if you crash your car at month one, like they cover the rest of your 35 or 36 month lease. But people have a psychological barrier to the responsibility of the payment, and they don't move forward. I
agree with that. And you factor in family, right? Wait, I'm borrowing $1.5 million, $2.5 million. Can I do this? Now I'm incorporating my family. What happens if something goes wrong right in the night? You start questioning all these types of things, and then you kind of get the paralysis by analysis.
I also think that there's a level of chops, meaning that they're like, look, I knew in their head, everyone's patting them on the back. You got a great practice. It's, doing $1.5 million, doc. You're a pillar in the community. Everyone's kudos. But now they're thinking, man, I want to double this capacity. Do I have what it takes to get me from here to there, kind of thing? And there's some limiting belief of like, maybe you don't have the skill set, because as we know in dentistry or dental school, we did not get a lot of that financial acumen or that business acumen or things like that. So a lot of dentists will go from zero, let's just say $0 to $1.5 million despite themselves, meaning that they are excellent producers of income and they are decent enough leaders that the practice does well to a certain point. But they know in their heart of hearts that to go from a 1.5 million practice to a $10 million practice, it's a completely different skill set. And am I going to be an imposter thinking that I can risk my family's wellness, family team's wellness? Do I have the skills that will take me there? And that's a very personal question. But I think me answering my own question of why do you think people stop, Chandler, I think that's a big part of it is, do I even have the skills to do it, kind of thing? And I've been there many times in my life, right? Craig's been there many times in our life. Everyone goes through this imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And for that, I just encourage people, like, put yourself in a group where you can find growth and education, and not a study club in your town, because no one wants you to do better than them. They want you to do well, as long as it's not better than them, right? Because that could potentially expose them. So put yourself in a group, right? Find a YPO, find a study club in another town,
find a Bulletproof mastermind,
find a Bulletproof, whatever, right? Right. Or there's plenty of things in dentistry. Yeah. The antidote for fear is education and data, in my opinion, of things like this. And right. Anyway, if you have a different swagger to you, right, all of a sudden you have a different skill set and you have a different resume, you feel more confident signing on the paperwork for $3 to $5 million loan because you put in the effing work, right? And now you're taking those muscles that you've built and now you're throwing the rock, right? And that's your leverage. And so I don't know. Today's a day where I've just been really encouraging people to always just have a strong bias towards action, Craig. And I've said that a couple of times today, but like the people that I see successful, Chandler, are the ones that are not talking the talk. They're not saying they're going to do something one day. They're making small micro movements towards what they said they were going to do. And the people who are not, I've been saying the same shit. And I know a lot of these people in dentistry, they've been saying the same shit they have for 5 years. I'm going to do that one day. I'm just waiting for this. Or I'm a perfectionist. I'm waiting towards this to happen. And
you're naming the common character traits of a dentist. Like, no, it's not an entrepreneurial segment. People go into dentistry because they're risk averse.
Right. But knowing themselves, Craig, if you know yourself, you're like, look, I'm risk averse. So what I'm saying is that if you know yourself, you can find tools to become the antidote to becoming entrepreneurial. Like, I am an introvert by heart. I would rather not even be on this podcast, right? I'd rather just be in a room by myself. But in dentistry, I had to come out of that and become an ambivert and really kind of sell things. So I had to learn much harder than you did, Craig, how to sell dentistry, how to become a successful dentist. Much harder than you did. It became natural for you to enroll dentistry. It was not natural for me. And so I'm saying is that just become aware of what you need for the next 5 moves kind of thing.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, and then Chandler, we want to hear from you as well. I think the only reason why I did it, if I'm being completely transparent, is because I had friends that went before me and I saw what they did. Obviously, I had heard people do this. I had heard about how this could all work, but I just didn't believe it. My buddy Michael, the same guy that said, don't talk to dentists about buying their own buildings. I watched him in 1998 buy a shopping center for $3 million down the road from me. And that shopping center produced, I'm going to make up numbers, like $500,000 a year passively. And then he fixed it up in 2 years, went to the bank, and had created so much more revenue by increasing the rents and dressing it up that he pulled out his original $1 million because he had it reappraised. It was worth like $5 million. So now he had $3 million in a $3 million equity. So he pulled out his $1 million and he redeployed it. And then I watched him sell it 10 years later for like 11. I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is like, am I watching like a magic
simulation
trick? Like, what the hell is this? What is going on? I'm like, oh, what? There's people that just do this and they understand it. And I'm like, okay, I want to benefit from that, but I don't know how to build a shopping center. So let me just attach real estate to something I know how to do. And the beautiful thing about dentistry, and especially for what you do, Chandler, is you offer owner occupied. So you don't have to be savvy in real estate. You just need to know your dentistry, and your dentistry will slowly and surely pay off your real estate, which is the most beautiful thing. So take the thing, the dentistry, you've gotten this far. Adding a building's nothing different to it. If you're in a shopping center, you're paying the taxes and the air conditioner anyway. You most likely have a triple net lease. You're paying for everything anyway. You might as well own it.
Might as well own it.
Chandler, are you guys seeing more lending for acquisitions or startups right now?
So we do a lot of expansion financing. So existing doctor has a business that's been open for 12 months or more. Say, hey, I'm 3 years into my 5-year lease and I want to go purchase that building or do ground up construction.
Okay.
But the SBA came out in October of 23 and changed rules for startup financing via the SBA. Historically, it was 10% down. Now we can get close to 100% financing on startups. So
it's awesome.
Wow. A doctor before, where they really didn't have an option. Hey, I'm coming out of school. I've been an associate for 2 years. I got student debt. I got a family. I got a mortgage. I got a car. I'm just going to go sign into this 10-year lease, right? Because I can't do anything else. I got $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 saved, but I can't go buy that $1 million condo. I don't have 25 or 30% to put
Mm-hmm.
down. I'm going to kick that can down the road. And eventually I'll be able to buy that piece of real estate 5, 6, 7 years down the line. Maybe, right? That has totally changed. So we see a lot of startups now, and we're trying to incorporate commercial real estate. So I've been trying to preach that as well. So up to 100% financing on expansion financing for the existing doctor and for the startup doctor. So if you're in some of these markets, maybe not in the large metro areas because that can become difficult, but you're in some of these tertiary markets where you can find real estate that's reasonable and you're looking to start a practice, why not sign up for that? Every million that you borrow today on 25 years is about $7,500 to $8,000 a month. You are most likely going to go
every million you decide to borrow is about $8,000 a month.
Yeah, a little less than, and it's coming down, and it's going to be coming down.
So you're assuming an 8%. Is that what it is? 8%?
That's probably around a little below 8%. That's correct, about 8%.
So this helps from a data perspective, right? When you're looking at your cash flow statements or your P&L and you think, God, can we do this new building? This is where I talk about like the data. Just do the math. All right, if this changes and this, and I've got, my rent currently is $10,000, but the new building is going to be $20,000 a month. Can I afford the delta of this 10 with all the aforementioned benefits that Craig talked about? Yes, I know those are great, but can the rubber meet the road? And I love it, man. I love to hear that you guys are providing the conduit for people to say, let's do it, And you said before we hit record, you were like, man, I am busier than I've ever been. And I think that's great for the profession, right? When there's stagnation in a market, a dentistry, and you're like, no one's building, no one's buying, no one's doing anything. Like that saddens me. And that's not good for market economics or dynamics. And so when you're saying I'm busy, that means there's fluidity in this market, which is great. It means there's energy going in, investor money going in. DSOs are going to start private equity, whatever it is. Like, it's great to have attention on this. So, I agree. Good. I'm glad to hear this.
Well, what else, guys?
That's it, man. That's a wrap.
Yeah, check with legal and make sure that anybody that says doesn't want to go forward with you, I get first right of refusal. And
he's back to his proposition.
No,
Chandler.
I'm just saying, like, that seems like a great one. In our mastermind, we have a couple of people, I won't out their names, but it's like, hey, Doc, have you looked at the building next door yet? Have you talked about that? No, I haven't. Well, what's getting in the way? I don't know. It's a lot of risk. I'm like, well, what about if I do it? I don't mean that to be like tongue in cheek. I mean that sincerely. And then immediately it's like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, until you almost lose it, you don't, I don't know what's wrong with people, but I hope that this podcast lands on somebody and they're like, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone and make that call. And I just want to do a shameless plug as well for you as well, Chandler. All banks are not created equal. And there's a little bit of a parasitic relationship
or transactional,
an unholy matrimony of the dental industry and supply houses being in with banks. And I've just saved so many of my friends massive amounts of money by saying, hey, I know that big bank that's down the street, that's national, gave you this rate. Please just call this person, call Live Oak, call this. And it saved them massive amounts of money. So we're all busy. We're doing we're doing clinical dentistry. We have very little time. Please educate yourself. Talk to the good guys out there. And I'm really happy. I knew you, Live Oak, really well for almost a decade. Maybe more, and I just wish I would have met you guys when I did, because I didn't know, I didn't know that I could have fit into the program. I went to that another route, the 504 SBA route.
Yeah. You guys are like that perfect Goldilocks size where it's not, you're not B of A, kind of like, just a number and there's gazillions upon gazillions, or you're not that one local office bank down the street that you're probably going to outgrow in 3 to 5 years, right? So you're a bank that you can establish a relationship. And I think that's super important. Like when I was borrowing my money the other day, I was like, they were like, wow, good for you. Look at all the things you've done. I was like, a lot of it was because of you guys too, right? Like you were advocates in my growth and you understood my position and you didn't make borrowing money this colossal, get a blood test and what's your, shoe size and all these things. You made it easy because you had scope of my ecosystem. And you wanted, you're in the business of lending money and I was in the business of borrowing it to propel my growth. And so having that relationship is important. I don't think it's transactional. Don't shop around looking for the lowest rate. I mean, I guess that's always good to do, but
it is.
But the relationship, I really feel like
but you could have it all, Pete.
Yeah,
with Live
I
Oak,
agree,
you could
Craig.
have a lower rate, better
Yep.
service, better understanding, more dental specific
And
information.
if you don't have your banker's cell phone number, like it's probably not a very good relationship, right?
I mean, I was in Colorado last week from Wilmington, North Carolina, visiting a doctor that's looking to do a large project. And we had lunch together. He brought his wife and his 9-month-old kid, and we just broke bread together. And it was important to me to get out there and visit him, to see him face to face, because guess what? He wants to do 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. And why can we not be that lender for him that understands that vision?
But also to the point was, you guys are the advocate to making sure someone doesn't become over leveraged. Meaning we think as dentists we play the game like just go until you find a yes, go until you find a less. Well, that's not good advice because underwriting is there for a purpose. Yet, right? Meaning like no, it's not in anyone's best interest for the dentist to go belly up. The bank doesn't want the asset, and the dentist sure as shit doesn't want bankruptcy on their thing. So
That's correct.
It's not just about finding someone to say yes. It's about trusting someone in an underwriting perspective to say, hey, I like this balance. I like this risk. Use them as your consigliere, like Craig does. Craig has Randy for it, right? Use them as
Randy, yeah.
What do you think about this? Not give me an answer, yes or no.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
That's right.
Which is where I see things sometimes. So anyway, on that, big fan of Live Oak. Thank you guys. And Chandler, you guys keep on growing. The growth. What are you on campus 5 now? You said
building 4.
Building 4, campus
5.
It's
It
crazy.
is so impressive. That just blew my mind. Totally blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that you guys are in. And
Yeah,
I love on the halls of the and the wall on the when we'd walk by all these founder stories that you really focus, that your philosophy is to focus on small business. I believe that, small business is such an American ethos, like this idea that you can work hard, take a little bit of risk, and build something iconic. And it's not without partners like you that enable this. And you celebrate your people. I saw doctors' faces on the walls, their stories. So cool. So cool.
That was cool. All right, everybody.
Big fan.
That's the pod. That's the pod. We'll see you later, Chandler. That's the
Thank
pod.
you guys.
All
Have
right,
a great
man.
day. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Chandler.
Take care. Bye.